Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast that's your prescription for business clarity. In today's episode, we explore the art of crafting multidimensional avatars with your hosts, Laura DiBenedetto and Julia Becker Collins. Learn why demographics only scratch the surface and why delving into beliefs, attitudes, values, and pain points is paramount. Discover the secret to aligning the head, heart, and wallet of your ideal customer for lasting connection.
Welcome to the $5 word episode. Man, I don't know what it is. I keep choosing titles for these episodes that have all the $5 words in them, like multidimensional is in this one. So here's the title: Beyond Demographics, Crafting Multidimensional Avatars. Blah, that's a mouthful.
And if you've been listening for a while, you heard our episode where I may have made fun of Laura for using omnichannel in the title. And today's episode, we get even more $5 words. So buckle up, everyone. You're going to ace that SAT test.
Yeah, you are. Well, anyway, that's Julia Becker Collins. I'm also your host, and my name is Laura DiBenedetto. This show is sponsored by Vision Advertising. We create kick-ass marketing. We help you make a ton of money and have fun while you're doing it. So give us a call if you need some help. Otherwise, just listen and learn. We're excited to talk to you today about avatars. If you missed the last episode, you should hang your head in shame and go fix them.
But also, it's not the movie.
No, it's not. I mean, you could go watch it. I heard that the
There's
sequel.
a new one, right?
Dumb.
Isn't there a new one?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. If you've seen the sequel and you really liked it, I apologize. I have not seen it. I have just heard negative feedback. It was so dumb. All right, cool. Well, that saves
Feel
me
free to
15
email
bucks.
us at info@vision-advertising.com with your movie review.
Yes, we want to hear it. Let us know.
I do. I want to hear it.
Sorry, man. I stand for big blue people everywhere. Okay?
It's a bad movie.
Yeah. Well, anywho, so avatars are not big blue people, and avatars are essentially your dream clients. And
Correct.
the more you know who you're targeting, the more you're going to attract that person, the more money you're going to make, the more fun you're going to have. It's also going to inform your marketing. We're going to be getting into that in the next couple of weeks. So at least in the first season of the show, we're going to be doing 4-episode sprints on a given topic, and we're just going to do a deep dive every week. We're not going to do hour-and-a-half long episodes. I can't stomach the sound of my voice that long, and frankly, I know you can't either. So we're just going to keep it tight.
Who has that much time? I don't have an hour and a half to listen to something.
No, I feel like these are appropriate, like cardio suffering length shows. Like, get your buns on the elliptical or the treadmill, do your thing, and learn some marketing. And by the time we're done yakking in your ear, you know stuff and you're fitter. Yay.
I think about it as a professional development snack. It's not a full meal. It's just bite-sized.
You're a snack, Julia.
I know.
Just a professional snack.
It's a professional snack. Welcome to the show.
In the last episode, I basically get paid to be smart and screw off for 2 hours when we record these. It's so fun. Yeah. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Let's dive into the subject and quit screwing around. I mean, we'll continue to screw around, but be more professional about the screwing around. Sorry, man. We're just rename the show like Punchy and Punchier.
I mean, sometimes it depends what time we schedule our recordings.
True.
Okay, so, Laura, talk to us about your $5 words this week.
Okay, so multidimensional, not just highlights in my hair.
There you go.
Multidimensional, it's like, think about one-dimensional. It's just very flat. There's nothing to it. 2-dimensional. Okay, it's got some, probably dimension that you can actually perceive. 3-dimension is like a cube. That's cool. and beyond that, you start to think about all those extra crazy dice that like a lot of gamers like to work with. You want as many sides as you possibly can get, because it helps you to have more variety. It helps you also to have more specificity. So this is not, just using the dice example, this is not a roll of the dice. In fact, it is the exact opposite of, the more specific you are about intimately understanding your avatar, way beyond demographics and market segment, the more you are going to effortlessly and more cost efficiently attract your dream customers who enjoy doing business with you, because turns out you're also a dream for them.
Right. And we talked about that last episode. So if you're a little confused, I definitely recommend going back to that episode and eating that podcast snack.
Hanging your head in shame is optional, but encouraged. Kidding.
So, Laura, why are demographics alone not enough when you're crafting an avatar and you're trying to do that deep dive into who you should be marketing to and who you ideally want to sell to?
Well, to deny your avatar their personhood is to deny the humanity of what it is to work with humans. We're not robots. I am way more as a human being than how much money I make or what shoe size and what car and how much, how many square feet I have in my home and whether I'm married or not. Like, these are very important statistics, but none of those things teach you about who I am. So when you think about who I am as a person, right? I mean, if you're being a cheeky so-and-so, you'd probably describe me as pain in the ass. She's very loud. She's very obnoxious. She's all the things. I'm kidding, maybe. But we have, I saw the face. So, so when you know all these different things about someone, but like, joking aside, like if you know that your ideal customer is probably more logical in their decision-making process, and I'm just thinking about our avatar, they are married like we are, they have a family, they're a homeowner like we are. Those are really good things to know, but maybe they have a sense of humor that's just as evil as ours. They like getting to the point quickly. They prefer efficient means of communication. They want the bottom line up front. So that's important to know, because it helps you to treat someone the way they wish to be treated. And it's kind of like, almost like cheat notes for the relationship. So I think about, I'm going to pick on my poor mumsy. Me and Mummy have kind of opposite personalities, right? So I love the bottom line. Mumsy likes the whole story. Mummy is not my ideal client, but she's my ideal mummy, and that's fine. So being the ideal client means I don't always enjoy telling the entire story, because I myself am a bottom line person. So if I'm looking to attract people that love doing business with me, I should know myself and my own psychographics, and I should also know who they are. I want to work with people who can appreciate me exactly the way I am and appreciate you exactly the way you are, because nothing sucks worse than having to contort myself to try to meet someone's expectation only to fall flat, because we really can't change who we are at our core anyway.
Right. Exactly. And whatever product or service that your company provides, like I said last episode, it's not for everyone, and you wouldn't want it to be anyway. Even when I have conversations with people who think, oh, everyone can buy my product, everyone would love my product. So I use the example of selling sweaters oftentimes. That's great that everyone could buy your product, but I don't think people in Hawaii necessarily need your, extra warm, organic alpaca sweater, because it's not going below 80 degrees there. So yes, technically everybody could buy it, but not everybody needs it or wants it or is interested in it. If you're selling, like I said, organic alpaca cotton sweaters or whatever, which I am definitely the demographic for because I'm cold all the time. But, you're going to think about where...
talking about sweaters for a reason.
It's cold. I mean, I'm in New England. It's cold. So, who are you selling to? Where geographically do they live? What are your sweaters priced at? So you need to think about how much money they have and how they spend their money, and what are they interested in spending their money on? Does organic matter to them? And is that a big important part of what your company is? How quick do you ship things? Are they going to get antsy about things if it's,
Right.
made to order, which means it's going to take 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, technically you could sell that sweater to anybody, but I don't think everybody wants it, needs it, or is interested in it.
Yeah. Now, all the stuff that you just brought up is a great basket of different things. It's demographic data, it's financial data, it's it's a lot of those things, including some of the psychographics. Like taking all of the demographics out of it, right? Is this a person that prefers being cuddly and cozy? Do they like soft things, or do they prefer scratchy materials? Can they not stand, feeling heaviness of material on them? Are they, someone who, if I think about fuzzy alpaca sweaters, it's, what does that person generally want?
Right.
Is it something that's an emotional purchase where they're wanting to feel cozy and emotionally held, I guess, by something cuddly and warm? Or, is it just a functional purpose? If you if it's more of an emotional purchase for that person versus a functional purchase, that will inform the way you speak about the product. Because one will lead you to features and benefits. The other one will lead you to you're going to feel so great in this. And you're going to feel like a nice warm hug versus it's got a zipper.
Right. Are you selling to ranchers in Montana a very durable, soft sweater so that they can get through the harsh winters? Can you tell I've been watching Yellowstone?
Good show.
And I know. And so it's more about function. It's more about, how long does it last? It's more about, how warm will this keep me? Can any body type wear this?
Right.
Versus a lawyer in South Dakota who, it's definitely cold there, but they're probably going to court, so they need it to look a certain way, and maybe they have a higher income stream, and it needs to be very beautiful and presentable, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, you're touching on the next area I wanted to dive into, which is some of the details of what make up psychographics, like beliefs, attitudes, values, and pain points. And the things you were just talking about is pain points. I'm not going to put a big chunky cable knit on an attorney that has to go into court.
Right.
They're going to want something that's really warm, probably more of a cashmere, something that, I need to be warm. That's a pain point. But I also can't look like I'm going to Nana's house. Okay. Also,
Right.
Another pain point, your product can't, or service can't introduce another pain point. So when you understand that person, sometimes you can shift what you offer. Sometimes you can just target different people. If you're doing chunky cable knit, I'll probably buy from you because I love that stuff. And I'm not going to courtrooms unless I've driven too fast. This may or may not happen on a consistent basis. I can neither confirm nor deny. All I'm saying is I live in Florida and speed limit maximum is 70 and it's more of a suggestion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but there's major things here, right? So beliefs, what do they believe? In general, I'll give you some examples. How do they believe business ought to be conducted? So if you're doing business to business the way we are at Vision Advertising, I want to know my avatar's beliefs align with mine, that I believe in clarity. I believe in setting expectations. I believe in paper trails. I believe that to be clear is to be kind. I believe in telling the truth, and I want to work with people who align with those beliefs and agree. I also believe that money is a very non-emotional conversation where there are no feelings. It's a practical resource conversation of what you have or do not have. It's very binary. There are no feelings. So my ideal person checks all those boxes, and I'm their ideal person because they feel that way and they want to work with someone who's just like them.
Right.
So in some ways, we are very much like our avatar. In some ways, we're very different. one of the things that's important about my avatar is they don't want to do marketing. So we don't have that in common because we actually want to do it.
Correct.
So the next thing would be like, attitudes. It's not just buying attitudes. I mentioned in the last episode, and we will probably get into different things down the road about like DISC styles. It's DISC styles. Check that out if you want to online. But it's attitudes towards the buying process, attitudes towards transparency, attitudes towards directness, attitudes towards employees and the role of leadership, and then sales, and attitudes toward money and investing and stuff like that. Like, I think about a lot of these things, and when I think about, again, picking on our avatar, poor guys, we're really being picked on today. I'm thinking about, like, a lot of it is very practical, very pragmatic. The attitudes are like, yep, got to do all these things. It's important. It's functional for the necessity of business. And it all falls under the heading of no big deal to our avatar. So those are some of the things that we think about. Some of the things you might think about would be attitudes about, I don't know, like in previous episodes, we were talking about like bakeries and,
I was just thinking about the chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, I was going wedding cake, but that's cool.
But we did previously talk about chocolate chip cookies.
We did. So, what's your attitude towards baked goods at all? Like, are you like, no, I think carbs make me fat, so I don't eat them. Well, you're probably not our ideal customer if we're selling cookies, because we're selling.
But it also could be like,
pills.
We don't cater to any kind of food allergies, that's a decision to make. But if you're a potential client that has a severe dairy allergy, then that's not a good place for you.
Right. And that's an attitude of, accommodation or not. And, some people are very accommodating and some people are not. I have food allergies myself. Julia has some. So when it comes to food, it's either we feed ourselves or go to places where people are accommodating. Those are our options. So, we do business with restaurateurs who are aligned in an accommodating attitude because it's a mutually symbiotic need.
Yep. I think that's the best way of thinking about kind of everything we've talked about up to this point is that you as the service or product provider and your client need to be in that mutually symbiotic relationship. And now I'm having flashbacks to like freshman in high school biology where they talked about symbiotic relationships.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff. Like photosynthesis and all kinds of fun words that I'm like, oh yeah,
parasites.
Science.
Exactly.
So the next box to check is values. Now, this one can be a dicey one, especially in today's political climate. And sometimes it does incorporate political values. Sometimes they're more just social values that are not political. Like Julia and I are completely 100% aligned on Team Kitty Cat. We love all the kitties. We want to save all the kitties. Meow. So
and puppies. Kitties
yes,
and puppies.
Yeah. So we're equal opportunity fuzzy baby lovers. And that is a value that we share. We have a lot of shared values around investing in the next generation and really supporting young people. And those are really great. Where we tend to diverge is some of our political values, and that's okay. But you need to decide in your company, like, is it okay if you work with people who might not feel the same way as you, or is it imperative that you work with people that feel the same way as you?
And there's no correct answer. Only you can decide that.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's a decision that every company needs to make. And it's a nuanced subject, and maybe we can dive into that for an entire month one day, and that'll be interesting. But it'll be important for you to realize, like, what values do you hold and do you share? Like, for example, like I noticed one of the patterns we talked about in the last episode is pattern recognition. I noticed that a lot of our clients and our ideal avatars, they value family, they value time, they value their faith. These are all very common traits and values in our customers across the board. So kind of interesting. And the last one on here is pain points. Pain points are basically why someone would buy. And they're not just the most obvious ones. Sometimes they're deeply held insecurities and fears.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's one of the questions I always ask when I have conversations with prospective clients about, what made you decide to have a conversation now about marketing. And when I have conversations with them about where they find their clients, it's, what makes those people decide to move forward in that moment. Why does your avatar, why do your ideal clients decide to make buying decisions? Is it an impulse purchase? Is it something investing in their future? Is it that they're trying to give a gift to somebody? There's a million different reasons.
Absolutely. There's so many things, but like, I'm so glad we have this podcast now, because I feel like I finally get to like dump out the contents of my head and like share it with people, and like all these years of experience that I have. And,
do you feel better? Does the head feel better now?
Not lighter yet. We're getting there little by little.
But ask you at 100 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably be fatigued, but feel like, oh, I've lightened the load. But you know what? When you think about like 3 things really determines whether or not you're going to have a good alignment: head, heart, wallet. And your head is going to determine pain point alignment. Your heart is going to determine the beliefs, attitudes, values. And then the wallet, that's frankly just a practical conversation of resources. And either you have it or you don't. But if you can align your head and your heart, the wallet usually finds a way of working out.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Before we wrap up here, Julia, I'd like to get your thoughts on what the role of the behaviors, motivations, and challenges are in shaping the avatar.
Oh, great question. Well, so, it's sort of like backing into the parking space. So the role of behaviors, motivations, and challenges are just another layer in shaping that avatar. We talked about demographics, we talked about geography, we talked about buying decisions, kind of et cetera, right? And then really, like I said, backing the truck up into the parking space to put that final layer on is, what do all those demographics and geography and buying decision areas, what does that translate into with that person's behavior? So it could be, where do they make buying decisions? So are they on Instagram? Do they vote? Do they have a car, right? Like, what are behaviors and why do they do things? So motivations, like, are they somebody who loves to do impulse purchases at 2:00 in the morning on Instagram? Like, that is definitely a certain classification of people. And maybe, like Laura said earlier, it's because they have some kind of insecurity, or maybe because they are cold and they need the sweater, or is it because they like chocolate chip cookies? Whatever it is, right? Like, why they do things and how they do things, behaviors and motivations are very important to shape that avatar, because you need to understand where to put your message out in front of them, right? Not everyone is on every platform. And as I always say, just because your brother, sister's, cousin's girlfriend told you to be on TikTok doesn't mean you should be there if your avatar isn't there. So when you understand the behaviors and motivations and next challenges of that person you're ideally trying to sell to, you'll know what platforms they're on. So challenges, like we talked about with pain points, but it's also, what are they trying to solve by buying your product or service? Most people like to think about what they're offering or offering for sale as something that's just standalone or is, right? Like, I am selling chocolate chip cookies, but also maybe you're making somebody happy because they really enjoy chocolate chip cookies. And so the challenge that you're solving for them is, they were hungry, or they needed a pick-me-up, or they had a bad day, or whatever. What is the problem that you are solving with what you are offering?
I'm going to add to that and just say, what is the underlying problem? And, try to be the armchair psychologist when you think about this. Like, there's really a lot of underlying psychological motivations for people doing things. Like, Julia, if I'm going to buy you some nice, delicious, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, flavor-free cookies, I might do it because I want to be nice to you, but that's probably not really why. Yes, I love you. I want to be nice to you, but maybe I'm trying to butter you up to do me a favor. Maybe I'm trying to apologize for something I've done or said that hurt your feelings. Or maybe I just feel like we haven't talked a lot lately and I'm trying to reconnect with you. That's
Right.
more important than, oh, I want to buy cookies. That's a superficial, you know, challenge or problem that someone is trying to solve. And they're certainly noteworthy, but friends, don't stop there. Dig and look for the psychological motivation. Like, believe me, there's always one, you know, like even, you know, if your wife is asking you, honey, please do the dishes, maybe she's asking for more than just dishes. Maybe I'm tired and I've been raising these damn kids and mama needs a break and I don't want to be in murder mode. So please help me. And it's so much more than the dishes. And I'm putting it in a silly context because it makes it easier to explain and understand. But like, rarely is the problem you see the real problem. And I'm going to leave you with this one thought that's very important. Hang your hat on this one. 95% of all purchases are made to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings are not hardwired to pursue pleasure. We don't do that. We say we do that. It is a lie. We do not. We choose the cars, the homes, the neighborhoods, a lot of the things because we want to solve problems. People will invest in fancy pants landscaping because they feel insecure and want to not just keep up with the Joneses, but be the Joneses because they got like issues. You know what I'm saying? People choose fancy pants cars and whatever because they're trying to feel better inside. Like, understand this. There's so much pain avoidance in 95% of purchases, and the superficial reason you are first seeing is almost never the real root. So make sure you look for that.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, thanks for listening. It's great having you here. If you have ideas for the show or if you have questions, you can certainly shoot us an email, info@vision-advertising.com.
We also accept movie reviews.
Yeah, and cookie
But
recommendations.
really only about the movie Avatar.
Yep, that sounds good. If you need any help with your marketing, let us know. We're always happy to do a complimentary consult with you to figure out which end is up. Again, we've got Julia Becker Collins and me, Laura DiBenedetto. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.